Well, here we go now. My torque wrench arrived at the post office. A big one. It's going to be too big to fit in my toolbox. But hey, we will use it on this thing. Yeah. To replace the belt I broke. Dorman. Replace the adjuster that I broke. Replace the socket that I broke, and this is all I could get at the local store here on the mountain. Don't have a big box store where I can buy what I need, so I got these two items. So this is Crescent. Still, look at it, it's made in China, so I don't know. I'm gonna try it, see if it breaks too. That's all I got to work with right now. And I got a bent pulley out there. Power steering pulley that I fucked up trying to get that bolt off. Okay. We'll see what happens. Hello, gearheads. Well, in part one, you saw us wrestle these things out of here. We inspected them, and now it's time to wrestle them back on in there. And trust me, Murphy is waiting. Alright, so we've cleaned up this area here. Got to get the cylinder head surface. That works good. We cleaned up everything with a wire wheel. That's how I do it. So then we're going to strategize how we're going to get this thing in there. And we're going to see. This head is not warped. I have a 6,000th feeler gauge there. And no matter where I put this, I can't get it in there. I'd be surprised. It might be 1,000th. Oh, god damn it. Fork this. Sure as hell, I have to take this whole head back out again. There's two head bolts in the middle have black paint on the heads of them. Obviously, they're stronger bolts. Of course, neither one of them are in the middle anymore. And none of these are going to come out. You know, there's not enough room. I got to swap 4 bolts in this mother forker. Alright, let me take care of this part right now. I'm a little pissed off, but I want to make sure you don't make the damn mistakes I did. Make sure all your bolts are in there halfway, in and out. Make sure the 2 center bolts have the black paint on their heads, because Subaru is too damn cheap to make all their bolts the same strength. Then, when you go to, then you got to jack this up, put it on the driver's side of the front of your transmission pan, jack this engine up until the motor mount is completely out, and it will shift over a little bit, giving you just enough room to get these back bolts into the goddamn motor. Jack this all the way up. You can see I got a hammer stuck under there. It's out of the way. It's not a problem. I recommend taking this off. I recommend taking that off so you don't jam it into your condenser. When you go to put the head in, take it, go straight down with it, get it down in there, then twist it and bring the back end up, and then gently move it on in there. I left the head gasket to the head rather than on the block. I didn't want to scrape it up with the bolts. Carefully maneuver it in there, and you just barely can get the bottom bolt through. Just work it, get it lined up, and then you can lay the head up in there and get all your bolts started. That's the way to do it. Straight down, twist, and back. Done. Alright, so I ordered up this little tool next to help speed things up. Okay, so I finally went through the whole routine, finally. The head is on. I went through all the steps. You tighten to 22, tighten to 51, back it up 180, back up another 180. By then it's loose, and then back down to 31 foot-pounds. And at this point what I did was I marked the tops of the bolts with a red marker. If we can see any of that going on here. Where is it at? Where can we see the red marker? Ah, shit, this is fucked up. It's right there. Can you see it? Anyway, you can see now it's like 90 plus 45 degrees tightened. So I had to use a mirror, a couple of these, to get down in there and look. So it was difficult. But at any rate, then you go your 45, then you go 90, then 45, and then for the two center ones, additional 45 degrees. And then you're done. Make damn sure those two center bolts have black on the heads of them. Okay, and that's how that worked. I used a combination of tools. I used a breaker bar and mostly used my new Craftsman torque wrench here. And it seems to be a pretty good wrench. Worked pretty good. All right. Then I jacked the engine back down. I do have the EGR part sitting back there. Hopefully that will line up when the time comes. It's right there. And I've jacked this side of it up now. So I've got this up a little bit in the air. And you can see I moved the hammer from this side to over here to jack this intake up higher to give me more room down in there. I still have to clean that up, which I'll do with a wire wheel like I did on the other side, and blow that all out. This stuff here, this stuff's coming out. I got in my way last time. I think it's coming out of there. Piston tops are looking good for a high miler, showing a little bit of oil usage around the edges. Alright, so I'm torquing this down the final bit here with 45 degrees. So what I do then is I just grab the mirror, because I made my little red marks down there. I got to see if they're like 3/4 of the way around. So that's kind of how that worked. It's kind of hokey. I've got this thing set at 90 pounds. It's just almost there. And here we go now. Pay attention, kids. See that fucking pipe right there? That's the one I had to move out of the way. The one that goes up to the front here. Well, I should have put this in. See the bracket? It's supposed to go under it. Once I bolted this head on, it fucking won't go in. And this thing is solid like a goddamn rock. I pulled out the bolt right here, and but it's stuck on. It's just solid. It won't budge. This has to go underneath that, and it's not doing it because I didn't line that up before I put the fucking head on. Oh my God, this job just drags on and on and on. I ended up taking these 4 bolts loose on this water crossover here and prying it up so I can get that pipe all situated and bolted in and untangled from this. Leave this loose till later. So I put this back part in, and then I put the pulley back on. It still has to be torqued. Don't forget that, Chuck. Alright, and the trick to getting this belt on was you can see the marks. I found the old marks on it, and that lines up. That lines up. You can barely see the marks, and that lines up there. So so what I do is I get the thing all on there. What I did was I took this one down here off. That way you can get it all in, get it all lined up, get these all lined up perfectly, and then you turn them both to take all the tension off. So it's tight up here. That gives you as much room down here that you can work with. And so you can get it over that pulley right there. Once you get it over this, you can push up on this. You can push up on this and install that idler pulley. Tighten them all down to 30 foot-pounds. And there's your timing belt. This is the tensioner. This is the drill bit that I pulled right out of there. What I did was I took this off and got with the big boy wrench there and compressed it down so I could get this drill bit down through the hole in the middle of that thing. And it wasn't easy. So, that's how I did that. Alright, when you go to put this valve cover on here, I'm telling you what, it is tighter than a which is... Anyway, don't start the bolt in the bottom down here. And don't put this fucking gasket on here because it's going to fall off every time and that bolt's going to fall out of there every time. Alrighty then, let's put this Craftsman here to the test. Working on this Subaru. We got the harmonic balancer tool in place. We got this thing set at 70. We're going to crank on it.
We saw what it took to get that bad girl off of there.
Okay guys, so you can see we have the timing cover nice and neatly buttoned up. But there's one thing we neglected to do, and that's take a look at the water pump. There we go. There, we hit 70. Alright, so I've reset this guy to 120. That's what I'm going to on this here Subaru. I don't care what any of the texts say. Let's put her to the test at 120 now, huh? This will be a double-ended. This hurts my chest. Oh, god damn. I'm old. And I'm getting over COVID, for God's sakes. My chest hurts. Oh, there we go, right there. Hear that, guys? She seems to be working good. I'm liking it. So there we are. Balancer on. Cover all the way. All the bolts. Just a matter of laying underneath, snapping this whole thing together, and getting them all in. Got every one of them back in there. God damn, I can't believe this. This fucking thing is cross-threaded. This new part I bought to replace the one I broke. There's no fucking way in hell I can get the bolt in the thing. Tried both ends. I don't have a tap and die set for 4 and shit. Can't believe this. One thing after another. One fucking thing after another on this job.
So then it becomes a matter of plug and play. You're going to slap all those parts back on that you took off. Of course, you're going to start with the big bracket. You can see where the 4 bolts go there. You'll just take and slap that thing back in place. Slide your AC and your alternator on and pick up the belts. So guys, we slapped the belts back on. Made do without that alternator adjuster.
Oh shit. Well, think that's something the hammer will fix? You fucked up your... Oh dude.
And then we dropped the intake back down on the new gaskets. Torqued it down. Then it's plug and play. Plug in all the plugs, plug in all the hoses. I mean, we hook up a few more brackets and bolt down all the rest of the peripherals, and we don't have much more to do, seeing how we didn't unhook most of the intake manifold system.
So I added the coolant, and she fired right up. And she ran like shit. Cylinders 1 and 3 were misfiring. So I had to order a coil pack. And guess what? This is the wrong one. I'll show you what I did. No, I won't show you what I did. But I made it work. Now I'm going to go ahead and provide some scanner readings on this so people can see what the scanner reading is supposed to say on this car. Oh, and then there was the thing about the water pump. Well, I guess we won't get into that right now. Let's just say there's probably another video coming. Alright, let's sit here and take a look at this as it sits here and idles at this particular point in time. All of that's not looking bad there at all. Here's the rest. So it's all warmed up. Alright, that's it.